Hello my dear friends, welcome to the class of statistics for the 12th English medium part 1 chapter 2 linear correlation by Vitan sir. Today we will be solving the exercise 2.2 from the textbook. Most of the questions I have given solutions for, some of the questions I have given hints for which you can find your own solutions. Starting with the very first question. The information is given for the sample of 7 families of a society regarding height of father and the height of his son. We have to calculate the correlation coefficient between these two data, starting with mean of x, that is height of father, and mean of y, that is the height of son. If you check out the data, the means of both father and son are in integers 167, 168. That means we can use the x bar y bar method. Preparing the text, starting with the copying down question of height of the father, height of the son. Then we need x minus x bar, that is from all the values of x we will be deducting x bar. Our column will look something like this. The total must be 0. This is x bar y bar method. Then we will do y minus y bar. From all the values of y we will deduct the values of y bar. The column will look something like this. The total is 0, so our answer is right. Then we will find the square of x minus x bar. Then we will find the square of y minus y bar, and then we will multiply x minus x bar and y minus y bar in this manner. So that way we get all the 5 necessary columns. Now from this x minus x bar square, y minus y bar square, and x minus x bar into y minus y bar, these three totals are very important. Moving on to our formula. R is equal to summation x minus x bar into y minus y bar divided by under root summation x minus x bar whole square into under root summation y minus y bar the whole square, putting the necessary values. 25 upon root 28 into root 34, we will multiply the values on the root. That would be 25 upon under root 952 out of the root 25 upon 30.8545, that would be 0.8103. Round figure R is 0.81. This is positive and very much near to 0, so value is near to 0. We can say that there is a high degree of positive correlation between height of the father and height of the son. Moving on to the second question. A local cottage industry makes various snacks, sells each snack in a packet of 100 grams. From a study of a price determination regarding a new kind of a wafer, the following information is obtained for the price and the demand. So price and demand of a certain new kind of wafers are given. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The n is 6. We will find mean for both price and the demand. Mean for price is 30, mean for demand is 22. Both are integers, so we can use x bar y bar method. So now we will copy the x, the y. Now we need to do x minus x bar. So from all the x's we will deduct x bar. It will be something like this. From all the y's we will deduct y bar. It will be something like this. Find the square for x minus x bar. Find square for y minus y bar. Multiply x minus x bar and y minus y bar, and you get the totals. You can see here that x minus x bar, y minus y bar multiplication column total is negative 79. That means this will give us negative correlation here. So we will write down the formula x minus x bar y minus y bar upon under root x minus x bar square into under root x y minus y bar square, putting the value negative 79 upon root 90 into root 86, multiplying the under root values. Negative 79 upon 7740 under root, out of the root it will be negative 79 upon 87.9773. By dividing we will get negative 0.89796, that would be negative 0.90. The value is negative, so our statement will be that there is a high degree of negative correlation between the price and demand of new kind of wafers. That means if your price is high, your demand will be low. If your price is low, your demand will be high. There is a negative correlation. Moving on to the third question. Sample of 6 students Here there is a spelling mistake, my dear friends. This is from the textbook itself, but there is a mistake here because there are not 6 students, there are 10 students. So marks in accountancy and marks in statistics is given, and we have to find the correlation between this. We will start by getting the mean of marks in accountancy and mean of marks in statistics. In accountancy it is 64, in statistics it is 61. What can we do here? My dear friends, as you can see, we can use x bar y bar method because the values are integers. But if you look at the values, there is a huge variation. For example, the marks vary from 95 to 30. So what I am doing here is I am not using the x bar y bar method because the difference will be huge. That will make it confusing. I will be using the shortcut method, the UV method, because as you can see the question, all the values are divisible by 5. Once again check the question out. All the values are divisible by 5 because all the values are divisible by 5. By using the UV method, I can reduce these values down to smaller numbers which are easy to handle. So what I am going to do here, I am going to assume the A for u as 60, which is also divisible by 5. So x minus 60 divide by 5. If I take a value which is not divisible by 5, then it kills the purpose of using the UV method. For V, I will assume B as 60. Now why I have taken 60, 60 for both? You can take any value you want, but because we are supposed to divide it by 5, take some value which is divisible by 5. And for x bar it is 64, so the less value which is divisible by 5 than 64 is 60, so I have taken 60. For y bar the answer is 61, so the near about value to 61 which is divisible by 5 is again 60, so I am taking 60, 60 as assumed values for both u and v. We will be using this formula for calculating the sum. You can use x bar y bar method, you can assume any other value if you want. The answer will be same, but just follow my method for now. So assuming uv, we will need u, v, u into v, u square and v square columns. For u, I will deduct 60 from x and divide it by 5. For v, I will deduct 60 from y and divide it by 5. That way I will get the u and v columns, but first copy down the x and y. So x column total, y column total, then u column, that is deduct 60 from each and every values of x and then divide the answer by 5. You will get the total 8. V column is deduct 60 from each and every value of y and divide it by 5. That way you will get the total 2. Be mindful of the positive negative values. If you make a mistake there in addition or subtraction or multiplication or changing of signs, your answer will not come. Now square the u column, square the v column, and then multiply u with the v column. So that way you will get your u, v, u square, v square and uv, 5 columns. These 5 columns are necessary for the calculation of uv method. The formula is a bit longer, n summation uv minus summation u summation v upon under root n summation u square minus summation u the whole square into n summation v square minus summation v the whole square. Now put all your values. The n will be 10, the summation uv is 143, summation u is 8, summation v is 2. Upon under root n is 10, u square is 182, summation u 8 square, then again 10 into v square is 140 minus summation v, that is 2 square. Now simplifying this multiplication and squares, we will get something like this: 1430 minus 16 upon under root 1820 minus 64 into under root 1400 minus 4. Subtracting all these 3 pairs of observations, we will get something like this: 1414 upon under root 1756 into under root 1396. So what you are going to do now, in your calculators, take a calculator and press the buttons which I tell you to press. 1414 divide 1756 root divide 1396 root equals, I will repeat once again, 1414 divide 1756 root divide 1396 root is equal to, the answer will be something like this, and the round figure answer is 0.90, the positive answer, which is near to 1. So we can say that there is a high degree of positive correlation between the marks in accountancy and the marks in statistics. Keep in mind the method of calculating from third last step to second last step. I just repeated. If you have any doubts, rewind the video again, but keep this method in mind. You don't multiply the divisional values while doing it in calculator. In practical, when you multiply the under root values, you use the multiplication, but right now you are doing the whole answer in a single step, and at that time you have to use division twice. You don't multiply, you divide both the values. Moving on, fourth question, ability of mathematics and logic of the students. 20 puzzles were given of two subjects to 6 children, and number of puzzles solved by them is given as follows. The puzzles solved according to maths and puzzles solved according to logic. The values are given for 6 students, 6 children, and we have to calculate the correlation coefficient. We will start by calculating the mean of mathematics and the mean of logic. The mean of mathematics is 9.67 and mean of logic is 10.17 and is 6. As you can see, the means, averages are not integers, they are fractions, but the question, the values are very small. We have three options, x bar, y bar, xy and uv. Here integers are not there, fractions are there, so we can't use x bar, y bar. The values are very small. When the values are small, we use xy method. When the values are big, we use uv method. The values are small, so we are going to use the xy method. For the xy method, you just need x column, y column, which are already there in the question. Then you need x square column, then you need y square column, and then you need x into y column. So x column values are already there, y column values are already there. Square the values of x column, square the values of y column, and then multiply the values of x and y columns. That way you will get all your columns, and now the total row. That way you will get the total of all the columns, because you are going to need all the 5 totals for all the 5 columns. In xy method, you just need additional 3 columns. In x bar method, you need additional 5 columns. In uv method, you need additional 5 columns. But in xy method, you just need additional 3 columns. That's why it's a short method. Write down the formula n summation xy minus summation x summation y upon under root n summation x square minus summation x the whole square into under root n summation y square minus summation y the whole square. It is just like uv method, u replaced with x and v replaced with y. Put the necessary values there. So as you can see, we will write down the values. Once we have written down the values, we will multiply the necessary values, and once we multiply the values, we will find the subtractions. After finding the subtractions, as I have told you, in your calculus, 50 divide 80 root divide 545 root is equal to, once again, 50 divide 80 root divide 545 root is equal to 0.2394, that is 0.24. The statement here will be, therefore we can say that there is a low degree of positive correlation between puzzles solved in maths and logic. Because the value is 0.24, there is a very low degree of positive correlation between the puzzles solved in maths and logic. Moving on to the next question. The investment and the profits between the companies. There are total 7 companies. The mean of investment is 15.71 crores and mean of profit is 9.14 crores. Now as you can see, again the values are very small, so you are going to use the XY method. But because you are going to use the xy method, you will write down the x column, the y column, the x square column, the y square column, and the xy column, and then put all these values, all 5 totals of the columns in the formula, solve the formula, and get the answer. Try it on your own, do this, and check whether the answer is something like this. On the bottom right corner, if you get this answer, congratulations. If you don't, try again. I'm not going to do this. You do it on your own. Okay, from now on, there are 4 to 5 sums which I'm going to give you for doing on your own. I will give you hints, I will tell you what to do, what not to do, but I want you guys to do it on your own. I will give you the answers directly. As you can see here, the question itself, we are finding the mean. The values are very small. On the mean is in integers, but you don't need to make 5 columns for x minus x bar, y minus y bar, etc. if you can solve it by using just x square, y square, and xy columns. So we are going to use the xy method as usually. Copy down the x column, the y column, create x square, y square, and xy column, find the 5 totals, put them in the equation, and that way you will get the answer, which should be something like this. There is a very high degree of negative correlation. The question was number of study hours and the number of sleeping hours. Of course, the person who studies more sleeps less. The person who sleeps more studies less. My dear friends, that's simple as that. Try to solve it. The 7th question is about the age and the systolic blood pressure, that means in short BP. So age and BP, age and BP, and the mean for that, the mean age is 58 years while the mean BP is 144.125. First of all, fractions, no x bar y bar. Second thing, big values, no xy. So naturally we are going to use the UV method. For UV method, you will need to assume a value for u and assume a value for v. Now first of all, try to check any pattern out. If there are in age, can you see any pattern? 1s, 2s, 3s, 5s, 10s? None, no patterns are there, so we will not divide it. In the blood pressure, 130, 150, okay, 10s, 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 so 158, no 10s there. So no pattern in the y also, so we will not be dividing this data with anything, but we will just be subtracting the values, something like this. So we will subtract 58 from x and 145 from y. You can take whatever value you want. This is just what I have taken for the sake of example. So u will be x minus 58, v will be y minus 145. So using the UV method, because you have to use the UV method, you will follow this formula. You need to create u column, v column, u square column, v square column, and the UV column. And once you get the total of all these 5 newly created columns, put them in this formula and you should get 0.67. So try this, pause this video and try it, or after completion of this video try it, whatever you want, but try this sum and get this answer. The 8th question is about an engineering association and they want to know the relation between the production and the cost per unit of production. So more the production, naturally the cost increases, right? So the production is 15, 20, 35, 24, 18, 31. Looking at the data, it seems that as the production increases, the cost decreases. Let us check it out by finding the mean. The mean of production is 23.83 while the mean of the cost is 82.83. Both are in fractions. We can't use x bar y bar method and the amount is not that small. So we will use UV method. Now in the production, I can't see any patterns here with which I can divide. I can divide by 2 or I can divide by 5 or 10. So I will not divide the production. Same way with the cost, actually it was divisible by 5, but due to that 87 value in the cost, I can't divide it using 5 also. So no division, just subtractions. In the u I will subtract with 23, that's on my own, I have decided it on my own. And v is subtraction with 80. You can take any value, I have told time and time again, I am just taking these values for my purpose. So the formula will be this, you have to follow this formula and solve the question. By writing down the columns x and y and then making the columns u, v, u square, v square and uv, you will get the total of 5 columns. Put these values in the equation and you should get like this negative answer. That also 0.92, very high degree of negative correlation. Question number 9. The per capita income and the price index. The per capita income and the price index. The per capita income is in thousands, tens of thousands, while the price index is normally in hundreds. So, according to the mean, the per capita income's mean is 34,333.33. The mean of price index is 163.33. In case you are wondering how I allot x and y, simple. The first one is x, the second one is y. The first variable given I assume it as x and the second variable given I assume it as y. This is a correlation coefficient. It doesn't matter whichever you assume as x or whichever you assume as y, as ultimately correlation between x and y is equal to correlation between y and x. That was one of the properties I taught you guys. So doesn't matter whichever you take x, whichever you take y, it's okay. So as you can see, the values are in fractions, the mean are in fractions, so you can't use x bar, y bar, these are big values, so you have to take uv method. But if you check out the per capita income, minimum 3 zeros are there for all the values, minimum 3. That means you can divide this value by 1000. So the subtracting value, the minusing value which you are going to take, keep it in thousands. For y, for price index, minimum 0 is 1 0 is available for all the values, so I will be dividing it by 10, and so the value which I am going to assume for subtracting will also consider have at least 1 0. So I am doing something like this here. For u, x minus 34,000 from the average 34,333, so I just took 34,000 from there and divide by 1000. For v, the average was 163, so I took 160. Getting my point? See what I did there? Getting it? Easy, right? So u is x minus 34,000 upon 1000, v is y minus 160 upon 10, and that way you will get the u and v, for which the formula is as you have done so many times before. So create the 5 columns, be careful of division and multiplication and subtraction. If you make a mistake there, your answer might get wrong. The answer is R is equal to 0.99. Almost perfect. Almost perfect. So very high degree of positive correlation between the per capita income and the price index. As the price index increases, the per capita also increases. If the per capita is increasing, then price index is also increasing. Moving on to the next question. The 10th question gives us some small but decimal values. The number of members per family can't be in decimals, but the weekly usage of petrol in the liter is in decimals. The number of family members are very small, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, something like that, while the daily weekly usage of the petrol in liters is in decimals. Whenever we get a decimal value, forget about the x bar y bar method, use uv compulsorily. The x bar is 3.43, the y bar is 14.57. Anyways, they are in fractions, can't use x bar y bar, although the values are small, so we might be tempted to use the xy method, but these decimals will haunt you in your calculation, so don't use xy method, use the uv method. Now for the family members, I don't need to divide it with anything, so I will just take 3 as a subtracting value and divide it by 1. No need for anything else. Why here? The usage of petrol here can be a bit tricky. I want to remove the decimals. So for removing decimals, I will have to multiply with 10. Now in the last tutorial I taught you guys how to multiply with 10. We don't show multiplication, we have to write it in the division. So whenever we are multiplying with 10, what will be 1 upon 10? Take your calculator, do it. 1 upon 10, it will be 0.1. So in the division we will write 0.1, that is multiplying by 10 is equal to dividing with 0.1, and I will be subtracting with a good value. So u will be x minus 3 upon 1 and v will be y minus 14.5 upon 0.5. Right now I haven't multiplied with 10, as you can see here. Why? What was the reason I didn't multiply with 10? Simple. Look at the values here. 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Yes, no, nothing else. No 0.1, no 0.2, no 0.3, 11.5, 14.5, 15.5, 22.5. What happens when you multiply 0.5 with 2? It converts into 1. 11.5 into 2 is 23. 14.5 into 2 is 29. 15.5 into 2 is 31. 22.5 into 2 is 45. That means I don't need to multiply with 10. I will just multiply it with 2. And multiplying with 2 means 1 upon 2, 0.5. I will be dividing it with 0.5. So u is x minus 3 upon 1 and v is y minus 14.5 divided by 0.5. Keep your calculations very precise, and that way you can get the answer like this. A high degree of positive correlation between the family members and the weekly usage of petrol. The more number of family members who drive the vehicle use more petrol. Common sense. The 11th question is again a question of points, but as you can see 1.5, 2.1, 0.9, 1.8, every decimal values is a different. So here I can't just multiply it with 2. I have to multiply it with 10. The mean here is x bar 1.43 and y bar is 66.67. No x bar y bar method because the means are in fractions. These are not small values. We have to take UV method. For u, I will be deducting 1.4 and multiplying with 10. Multiplying with 10 is dividing with 0.1. For v, I will be deducting 65 and I am dividing it with 5 because as you can see the yield of corn per hectare, all of them are divisible by 5. The use of fertilizer is multiplied with 10 while yield of corn per hectare is divisible by 5. So I am dividing the v with 5. Once again u will be x minus 1.4 upon 0.1 and v will be y minus 65 upon 5. Y minus I have taken 65 because the value should be divisible by 5. That's why I have taken 65 as the subtracting value. The formula is as usual, and when you solve the question your answer will be 0.84, a high degree of positive correlation. Usually we are getting this same answer, the high degree of positive correlation. Okay, now if you are fed up with doing the sums on your own, this is a sum which I have done for you guys because it's simple and easy. Find the correlation coefficient from the following information of rainfall and yield. The n is 10, the covariance xy is 30, the standard deviation of x is 5 and the variance of y is 144. If you think this is tricky, this is nothing. You haven't seen anything yet actually. Covariance is given, standard deviation of x is given and variance of y is given. Now remember the 11th standard. Variance is the square of standard deviation. The standard deviation of x is sx. Getting any bells in your head? Variance of y is sy square is 144. So sy is the root is 12. So now we have covariance xy, sx, sy and the formula will be covariance xy upon sx into sy. That way 30 upon 5 into 12, 12 5 is 60, 30 upon 60. The answer is 0.5. The answer is 0.5. We can say moderately correlated, moderate degree of correlation, perfectly moderate degree of correlation. Yes, moving on. The following information is obtained regarding the height and weight of a sample of 10 students of a school. The heights and the weights. X bar maybe shows height. Yes, X is height, Y is weight. So Y bar is the average of weight. Summation XY is 90,000. SX is 25. SY is 10. Don't worry friends, if you are getting dizzy looking at the question, I am going to solve it for you. The formula which you are going to use here is naturally whatever material is available. You have xy, so summation xy, you have 10 students. In case you are wondering where is the n, there are 10 students, so n is 10. So n x bar y bar upon n sx sy. If you don't know what's happening in front of the screen with this formula, revert back to one or two tutorials before, the very first tutorial of this chapter, sorry, the second tutorial of this chapter, in which I have explained all the necessary formulas. Put the values, multiply the values, subtract the values, and you will get an exact 0.8, a high degree of positive correlation. The 14th question has two sub questions. The first sub question gives you the direct values. Just put these values into formula like you have already been doing this since how long? Put the values, multiply the roots, get the root, divide, and round figure. A high degree of positive correlation, 0.94. Then the second sub question, if you check the values, they are ditto xy method. Write down the formula for xy method. You have the values means you are not supposed to draw the columns. You have the totals directly. Summation x, summation y, summation xy, summation x square, summation y square, and the total of the columns are given directly to you. You just have to put the values like this, multiply and square, subtract, and then I told you what to do. 108 divide 56 root divide 225 root equals 0.9621. The round figure is 0.96, a high degree of positive correlation. Sum of the exercise and today's tutorial, you have to find the value of R from the following data: average 60, 95, that is x bar and y bar. Sum of the squares of the deviations taken from the mean deviation, sum squares, that is summation x minus x bar square for x and summation y minus y bar square for y, and sum of the product of the deviations, that is summation x minus x bar into y minus y bar. In notations, something like this: x bar is 60, y bar is 95, x minus x bar square 920, y minus y bar square 1050, x minus x bar, y minus y bar is negative 545. Once you are done with this, with the formula, once again a very simple formula, just put the values, multiply the roots, get the root out, divide, round figure, negative 0.55. Moderately, we can say moderate degree of negative correlation is there between the values. We don't know what are the variables, so I can't tell you what are the variables here, but whichever x and whatever x and y's are there, there is a moderate degree of negative correlation between them. My dear friends, this is the end of the exercise. It might seem that just half an hour I completed the 15 sum, but you should take at least 2 to 3 hours to complete this exercise using this tutorial by pausing and resuming it. And once it is over, the homework might seem heavy, but it is necessary. One time, not the twice, but only one time the whole exercise in your homework notebook, because the next time I will be teaching you the third and the last method of Spearman's method, calculating correlation coefficient. So stay tuned, stay studious, stay home, stay safe. See you.